Real life stories with Liam Johnson. Subscribe and leave a like.
Eleanor finally realized that her older sister Scarlett had become completely different. Not long ago, the two girls, who were only a year and a half apart, were always together. If someone asked if they were sisters first or friends, they wouldn't have said yes. It wasn't necessary. They played together, slept in the same room on identical small sofas, shared hobbies, and loved cherry dumplings that their mom managed to make even in winter by opening a jar of cherry compote. Neither the parents nor the sisters themselves remembered any fights over toys, even though the dolls and doll furniture were shared. The parents didn't have the means to buy separate toys for each. They weren't businessmen, let alone oligarchs. After school, each escaping their dying village where younger siblings remained, they found short-term, inexpensive accounting courses. That was the deciding factor. 6 months of those courses, then luck struck. They found jobs in the same government institution with very modest salaries, but there was a social package. Even more luckily, while searching for a rental apartment after getting married, they ended up with a very elderly, lonely man. He was renting out a room in his 2-room Stalin-era apartment for the first time, didn't know what price to set, had never been a landlord before. What prompted him was his blood pressure starting to spike. He didn't bother doctors, rarely went to the clinic at all. He managed his pressure as the district doctor had recommended 10 years ago. She was already retired. He didn't want anything new. So he adjusted his pressure until he realized that one day he might not manage it and would lie there alone. That's when he decided to take in tenants, and he took the first ones who came. Later, he never regretted it. These young people became his family for a whole 5 years, and they were with him until his last hour. In the hospital, he managed to draw up a deed of gift for his apartment. At first, they didn't even understand what he meant. Only after the funeral did they regret not being able to thank anyone for such an unexpected gift. They had already lived there for 6 years when Scarlett was born. Scarlett, whom they immediately started calling Scarlett. She was probably meant to be like that. Neat, tenacious, with wide-open blue eyes and a constant smile. The parents gave her all their attention, and they didn't notice there would be another child. But there was. It didn't occur to them that it could happen so untimely. The father hoped it would be Anthony. He wasn't original in that. He wanted a son too. But another daughter was born, and she became Eleanor. And Dad soon forgot he had been waiting for a son. Eleanor became another beloved daughter. That's how the family lived, and it could truly be said they lived in love and harmony. There wasn't great wealth, but these four were together at the first opportunity, and indeed, being together is far more important than lacking various purchases, trips abroad, in short, that set which has become a goal in itself for many. And in such a family, the weather in the house that brings the family closer seems to fade into the
background. The weather is a capricious lady. It can spoil even where everything is built on mutual attachment. But suddenly, an external factor appears and changes everything radically. That's what happened in Eleanor's family. Eleanor was returning from her classmate's house. The girl had been sick for 2 weeks and had fallen behind. Eleanor went to explain the last 2 history topics. They had recently gotten a new history teacher who explained everything so interestingly and in much more detail than the textbook. So Eleanor came with her notes. As she walked home, almost at the entrance, she heard her mom's voice. Elizabeth was calling her sister from the open kitchen window. Scarlett was apparently standing by the neighboring entrance with a group of girls dressed fashionably, even provocatively, and listening intently to what one of them was saying, as if not hearing Elizabeth shout, "Scarlett, I'll throw down some money, please buy a loaf. Eleanor will be here soon and we'll have dinner." But Scarlett grabbed the girls by the arms and quickly went around the corner of the house with them. Eleanor didn't understand what that was about. Scarlett had heard her mom. So she quickly went up to the apartment, left her notes, took money from Elizabeth, and went for the bread. Scarlett was late for dinner. No one started eating without her. They waited. She came in, slamming the door loudly, and without crossing the kitchen threshold, said, "I don't want buckwheat porridge for the 3rd time this week. The girls and I went to the pizzeria. When was the last time we went there? I've never even been there." And now, slamming the kitchen door, she went to her room. Silence hung in the kitchen. No one knew what to say. Tears appeared in Elizabeth's eyes. This they couldn't bear. Jack and Eleanor jumped up, hugged her, and Jack said, "I'll go talk to Scarlett." And then Elizabeth and Eleanor stopped him in unison. "Don't." He sat down, confusion and bewilderment on his face, the same that Eleanor and Elizabeth felt, and this was just the beginning. Scarlett was the ringleader in her class. Everyone wanted to be friends with her, and she didn't refuse anyone. That's how it was until the middle of 8th grade when a new girl arrived. She seemed straight out of an ad. Clothes, shoes, backpack, hair clips, everything was, even to the untrained eye of her classmates, expensive and fashionable. And literally the next day, another girl came in fashionable clothes. They gave each other a targeted inspection and realized they were birds of a feather. Then more berries appeared from the classmates, but a core of fashionistas had formed, and now not every girl could walk the hallway with this group of practical models during breaks. There were girls who didn't try to approach this isolated group, among them Scarlett. She remained a leader, but the ranks of those who had followed her since 1st grade had thinned, and it bothered Scarlett, but she wasn't going to beg to join the school's top fashionistas. She thought that if her parents had more opportunities, meaning more money, she'd dress even better and no one would think of another leader. And so Scarlett didn't notice how she started getting angry at her mom and dad. And that stupid name, Scarlett. Even in that group, if they addressed her, they called her Scatolette. When she first heard it, she didn't even realize it was her. Then she imagined herself as Scatolette. All her clothes French, various cosmetics, the latest phone model, after school, not home, but to a cafe, where there's always a table for her group and all sorts of tiramisu instead of eternal cherry dumplings. And her parents dressed accordingly, and Dad's
car, not an ancient, repeatedly repaired clunker, but some Mercedes or Jeep that you have to look at with respect. And somehow it happened that this group started persistently inviting Scarlett, probably for contrast, only she figured it out right away. But Scarlett got pulled in. She couldn't do without these girls anymore, without their talks about clothes and abroad, about what cool restaurant they went to with their parents, about bank cards issued for their personal use. Scarlett had already let all this in, but still hid it, tried at least to act as before, only she communicated less with Eleanor. She was the first to get hit, and now Scarlett could snap angrily when her sister, by habit, lying in bed, wanted to talk about something secret, girly. Eleanor, leave me alone, I want to sleep. So I'll just ask, Scarlett didn't understand, don't call me that stupid name. The older sister hissed angrily. Is it hard to call me Scarlett? Eleanor barely held back from laughing, but it wasn't funny anymore, because Scarlett sharply demanded to be called Scarlett in front of people. Fine, when we're home alone. If it's hard to remember, so be it. She'll be Scarlett, but not in front of people, especially not her new friends. To Dad, you like that name, she replied condescendingly. What should I understand then? You might as well have called me Prudence. And that wasn't the peak of demands. Scarlett caught Elizabeth alone in the kitchen and said that for her birthday in 2 months, she must have brand jeans and a knee-length mohair sweater with a cowl neck, absolutely white. Otherwise, no birthday for her. And she gave Elizabeth a list with the menu. Elizabeth was stunned. Such dishes are probably only served in restaurants. Scarlett didn't wait for an answer. She continued, and I want no one home. It's my birthday. How can you be there in century-old clothes? No, let's do without you and without little sis too. And as she often did lately, she turned and left. Without following chronology, it's enough to say that the alienation, detachment, and contempt Scarlett showed grew rapidly. Her birthday went as she practically demanded. Elizabeth secretly washed entrances in the neighboring building for 2 months before work to earn for Scarlett's jeans. Jack, when he found out what menu his daughter wanted, secretly drove a taxi in the evenings in his veteran car and handed his wife a decent sum 3 days before the birthday. Eleanor already understood she wouldn't be a guest at Scarlett's and agreed to go with her parents to Jack's friends, where they were always welcome.
Naturally, neither Elizabeth, Jack, nor Eleanor showed up as Scarlett demanded at her birthday. It turned out the birthday was with minimal lighting. Scarlett thought of that, understanding that the furnishings in her home were far from fountain, as she put it. She unscrewed all the bulbs, replacing them with a few decorative candles, so the rich girlfriends couldn't see what kind of furniture was there, and Scarlett felt calmer that way. Generally, she wasn't calm at home now. She did nothing to outright be rude to her parents, just didn't respond to them. And what should they have done? Someone in their situation would have cut the knot right away. ordered Scarlett, while living in their house, to live by their rules, not given even modest pocket money, forbidden seeing the group that was clearly not her level. But the parents had never acted that way with their children. Here, recall the weather in the house. A cyclone or typhoon hits suddenly, as happens in many families. Then everyone seeks a way out in their own image and likeness. This family experienced such bitterness, felt such guilt that they always lived from paycheck to paycheck that it shifted the accents. They should have given this Scarlett a good scolding, reminded her that her name is Scarlett. Maybe it would have helped. But they had never lived that way. And while searching for a way out, Scarlett left for the capital with her certificate and a small bag of things. She said she didn't need to take anything to not make people laugh. Better to take money and buy everything there. And she took it. Saw that she was taking everything in the house, but it didn't bother her. Scarlett was already different. Elizabeth took so long to recover that Jack and Eleanor seriously feared it might end in the hospital. Fortunately, Eleanor still needed to finish school, and the parents had to pull themselves together. Scarlett wrote a short letter. She decided not to enroll. She met a rich man who already rented her an apartment, and soon they'd go to France, and everything became clear. Scarlett went for that. Eleanor finished school but stayed in the city, enrolled in correspondence at the philology faculty, got a job as an animator in an entertainment center. She wrote to Scarlett, invited her home even for a few days. She didn't always reply, and if she did, she wrote that never. She often goes abroad, each time to a different country, and doesn't want to miss a trip organized by her admirer. From these rare letters, it became clear that Scarlett changes admirers often. Only the affluent lifestyle remains constant. Though they lived in a provincial town, but knew what lifestyle Scarlett led, only they couldn't change anything. The father got into an accident in his old car. He was driving late at night, taxiing again, wanted to buy a new fridge. He was driving tired. He wasn't at fault. The other driver crossed into the oncoming lane, without a single chance. Eleanor had to organize the funeral. Elizabeth felt so bad it was scary for her. She asked several times if Scarlett would come, asked to delay the funeral a day. Eleanor called her sister and was glad Elizabeth didn't hear because Scarlett said she couldn't come. Tomorrow morning, she's flying to the islands with her young man. She asked Eleanor to say goodbye to Dad for her and even cried, but didn't cancel the island trip and didn't come to bury Dad. "I have no sister," Eleanor quietly cried, locking herself in the bathroom. But she called Elizabeth. It didn't come to making up on the spot that Scarlett is far away now and a bit sick, so she'll come later. Let them bury without her. Elizabeth probably guessed it wasn't so, but pitied Eleanor and said nothing.
And Elizabeth and Eleanor started living together, but never got used to Jack not entering the house anymore, not hugging them, not saying everything would be fine, that Scarlett would come to her senses. For about 2 years, Elizabeth held on, worked. Eleanor worked too. They had enough money, lived as modestly as before, but that wasn't what upset them. Besides mourning the death of husband and father, they constantly thought of Scarlett, felt that not everything was okay with her. Probably she didn't need money, but she passed like a relay from one rich man to another. That's why she didn't come home. Good that she at least called occasionally and always ended quickly, citing busyness. Only what her busyness was, she didn't confess. Sometimes memories overwhelmed Eleanor of how she and Scarlett were sisters and friends, how good it was with Mom and Dad. And then it didn't seem that now Scarlett might be in trouble, might have no money at all, and she sent her what she could. Until once Scarlett called and said, "Why do I need your pennies? Better buy something new for yourself, probably still wearing school jeans." So Eleanor understood that neither she nor Elizabeth were needed to Scarlett, nor her money, because Scarlett surely had so much money that she and Elizabeth couldn't dream of. Eleanor wasn't going to count her sister's money and certainly didn't envy her and gave herself a word never to mention money. Only she didn't keep her word. Scarlett didn't live so well after all. She couldn't hook a rich man to marry her. Instead, he rented her an apartment temporarily while she interested him and took her to seas and oceans. Scarlett had long been searching for stability. That's what she called these searches. Scarlett realized her clock was ticking. Soon, very soon, 30.
She lives almost in luxury, but as had happened more than once, at any moment they could say it's over, time to go, find another. What to object? Good that the latest dumping rich man gave a little time and money to find other housing. It didn't always work out to find a replacement right away. So Scarlett really wanted stability. In other words, to become the legal wife of a wealthy person, and it didn't matter much his age or looks. But so far, all misses. But finally, Scarlett Street got a holiday. She met a decent man who treated her well, and he loved children, often said he dreamed of them. Scarlett decided this was her chance. She got pregnant, feigned confusion, even cried when telling that the test confirmed today. Meekly suggested, if he didn't mind, to get rid of the child, but said the term was long and dangerous. Turns out, Scarlett knew her latest admirer quite well. He didn't think long, immediately proposed marriage. He'd never been married, had no obligations to any woman, but was ready to have them to her and the future child. They started preparing for the wedding, and here her fiancé turned out old-fashioned. He wanted to ask for her hand from her parents. Scarlett had to invent a heart-wrenching story. Grew up without a father, mother schizophrenic. There's a younger sister, but so unsociable that she never once visited Scarlett, though invited so many times. In short, very convincingly described her relatives, and the fiancé agreed, understanding the bride in such a position that excitement was no good.
Scarlett often repeated in the pre-wedding rush that she had drawn the lucky ticket. After so much wandering and humiliation chasing a rich husband, she found him. Even strange that he exists, the one who takes responsibility for the future mother of his child, didn't turn away. And she rejoiced even more. So no, her relatives got to her. It was Eleanor who called her sister and said Elizabeth was seriously ill and needed a clinic in Israel. They couldn't help here. Eleanor couldn't pay for the trip and treatment. She checked unless she sells the apartment, and even then not a fact. Selling means finding a buyer, and paperwork takes time, which Elizabeth practically doesn't have. So Eleanor asked Scarlett to help with money. "You're weird," Scarlett got angry at her sister. "I have a wedding coming up. How can I drop everything when the banquet is set and go look for money? I don't have extra such a sum. In short, don't knock me off track. You understand what I have ahead." Elizabeth died a week before Scarlett's wedding, though doctors gave hope that if delivered to the Israeli clinic, they could fight. There was a chance. Eleanor had never been in such despair. As soon as she closed her eyes, she saw Elizabeth, who died in Eleanor's arms, and her last words were, "Has Scarlett come?" Eleanor, for the first time in her life, got so angry at her sister, for her parents, for Mom's last words. She knew when and where Scarlett's wedding was. Scarlett herself said when explaining what a celebration awaited. Eleanor went to the Capitol, came to that restaurant, came without changing out of mourning clothes, with the black headband. Eleanor didn't even think to change. She'd been wearing it since the funeral day, and in this mourning attire, the doorman didn't dare stop her. He led her into the banquet hall, and there at the head of the luxurious table stood Scarlett and her fiancé Owen. How they were dressed, Eleanor didn't notice. She looked at her sister. She wanted to know if anything remained of the girl she grew up with. Scarlett noticed her right away. How could she not? The black morning dress couldn't go unnoticed. Guests noticed too, and the MC was already hurrying. He wanted to fix the situation he'd never been in at any wedding. Eleanor took the microphone from him and said just 3 words, looking into Scarlett's eyes. "Mom is gone," and immediately left the banquet hall. Scarlett remained standing, and her fiancé Owen ran out after Eleanor right away. She heard his steps and said, "Sorry I chose to tell about Mother's death this way. I knew my sister would lie about her family, and I don't want her honor tarnished." The banquet interrupted, guests tried to leave the restaurant unnoticed. Scarlett was in hysterics, rushing around the hall not seeing where her fiancé was. And he sat with Eleanor in the billiard room and listened to what the younger sister of his bride told. The very younger sister Scarlett said was unsociable and almost feeble-minded. And this fiancé turned out to be a decent man despite his wealth and position. He simply imagined how Scarlett didn't come to bury her father because she was entertaining abroad at the time. How she didn't want to help her mom with money and didn't wait for help. Her mom wanted to see her daughter, whom she never stopped loving. He simply imagined it and felt that no, he couldn't become the husband of such a cruel woman, and if a trouble happens to him or his parents whom he cared for and protected, yes, she wouldn't help for a second. But there will be a child. How to deal with that? Not everyone could make such a decision, to break off the wedding right during the banquet. For some, saving face is important, but not for all. For Scarlett's fiance, it was far more important to remain sure that his other half is a decent person. So he told Scarlett that tomorrow he'd file for divorce and hopes she'll keep the child. He'll help, he'll be there, but not as a husband. And he withstood Scarlett's tears and vows that she'd never do that again. Withstood and kept his word.
Scarlett gave birth to a daughter, Violet. Now her habitual state was tears of remorse and fear for the little one. Now she knew what it means to love her child. It was hard for Scarlett. Over these few years of idle life, she had unlearned care and work. And though she had enough money, much more, she lacked family, her native family that she so easily traded for an idle life. The girl's father helped, cared for them, but Scarlett knew he'd never forgive her. He was just another rich one, but in something like her parents, like her younger sister Eleanor. Scarlett immediately admitted her guilt, but when she admitted, she remembered everything to the end, imagined that her daughter, grown up, would do to her what she did to her mom and dad too, and understood, this is the real horror. Imagine that she, Scarlett, says her last words asking if her daughter has come, and she won't. And all this time, Eleanor thinks of Scarlett too. She understands it's not easy, but this is still her Scarlett. She didn't abandon her girl in an orphanage. She's raising her and caring for her. And Eleanor already knows she'll go. Definitely go to her sister and niece because they are family, and because Scarlett has become Scarlett again, though she paid such a price that you wouldn't wish on an enemy.